Tuesday, of course, every Tuesday, Ed Orgeron stops by his weekly visit on Off the Bench. And throughout the course of the summer, they kind of were checking position by position, going through the depth chart. One of the things that really stood out was when they were talking about the offensive line. And every time Ed Orgeron has spoken this offseason, when the center position has come up, he has been very non-committal. If anything, the thing more than any other that Ed has mentioned has been, with respect to Chase and Hines, he's got to get the snap. That's what Ed said over and over again. Now, they can't do on-field work with coaches right now, but you better believe Miles Brennan's out there taking shotgun snaps from Chase and Hines. I mean, they're having those player-led workouts, new quarterback, new center. You've got to perfect that battery. So you better believe they're working on that. Mike Detillier is fond of saying on here, Ed's not going to write the story for you, but if you're paying attention, he'll tell you the story. And the story is they're concerned that Chase and Hines can't get the quarterback-center exchange in the shotgun snap. So find someone who will. Remember back in May. In May, they were going through the depth chart on the offensive line. Here's what they said. Here's what Ed said back then about the center position.
The center. We got to get our snaps down. Most of our snaps are from shotgun. We got a new quarterback. We got a new center. Chase Hines has all the athletic ability in the world. He's 6'2", 340. I do believe he has a chance to be an outstanding center. But first of all, you got to get the snaps down. And as you know, he's the quarterback of the offensive line. He has to identify the mic. He has to make the communication. So it's either going to be him or Joseph Evans. Joseph is 6'2", 300. Now, we moved Joe over from defensive line to offensive line from Haynesville. I think he reminds us a lot of Lloyd Cushenberry. So there's going to be a battle. And behind him is Charles Turner. So we're three deep.
Three deep at center. Hines, but you heard Ed say, this was a month ago. This was May 19th. It's a month ago. Almost 2 months ago. He said, we got to get the snap. And he said it over and over again. At right guard, again, this was 2 months ago, Ed talking about the right guard depth chart.
So right guard is wide open. Anthony Bradford is 6'4.5", 354. I believe Anthony's probably our most talented offensive lineman. But he needs to show it. I mean, he can cover up with three technique. He has good feet. He needs to come back in shape. This summer is going to be critical for him. Cordell Thomas, we all know about Cordell. Cordell's injury put him back a little bit. Cordell's big and strong. He's 6'2.5", 343. I do believe that he's a baller. Let's see what he can do. Behind him, we have Liam Shanahan, our kid from Harvard up there. We're going to see if he can play guard. We'll see if he can play center and tackle.
All right. So some things that stand out there. Chase and Hines, this was 2 months ago. Chase and Hines, center, got to get the snap. Behind him, Joseph Evans. Oh, by the way, also Charles Turner. Right guard, wide open. Anthony Bradford, most talented offensive lineman we got. We'll see if he can win. Kardell Thomas is also there. We think he's going to be a baller. He's got to make weight and come along. And then there's the kid from Harvard. We'll see where he might be able to play. Last week, Ed Orgeron gushed about Liam Shanahan. Do you remember that? We talked about this. When Ed was on with Off the Bench, it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, it was like all of a sudden the light switch came on. And he realized they had something in Liam Shanahan, the transfer from Harvard. Well, today, Ed went back to talking about Liam Shanahan. Again, consider, 2 months ago, it was three deep at center, no mention of Shanahan. Three deep at right guard. One of them is the kid from Harvard. We'll see what he might be able to do. 2 months later, listen.
We're thinking that Liam may be a center. What we hear, and obviously we can't watch him, but he's snapping well. It's what the quarterbacks are telling. The other offensive linemen like him. They're working together. He's very smart. We feel that he for sure can make the calls and be a leader for us. He's a big young man. He's 6'5", 310. He's a tough young man. He is really, really impressive. I met his family. His daddy is a big Irishman. He's put, I think, four students through Ivy League schools, and what a great family. And very impressed with the young man so far, but he's got to go through camp and get it done.
You do understand, right, what Ed is telling you. I mean, just listen to the contrast from 2 months ago when it was like, oh, yeah, and the kid from Harvard, to we think we found something here, to He's snapping, and he's getting the snaps, and he's making all the calls. Everyone's gushing about him. They're glowing. He's going to do it. You got to get back through camp. But, like, if they had to go play a game today, I bet you Liam Shanahan would be the starting center. The kid from Harvard who is very quickly adjusted, and that looks like that is going to end up being a major win for James Craig. Now, the other guy that Ed talked about is Kardell Thomas. So I want you to understand, and sometimes, like, you'll hear the story from Ed in the way he answers, right? So that was a 42-second answer about Liam Shanahan. He was asked about Kardell Thomas today. Listen to what he said.
Cordell lost a lot of weight, and he looks very good. He's worked very hard, and he's going to compete for that right guard spot. That right guard spot right now is wide open, and let's see what he can do.
Liam Shanahan, 42 seconds. Worked really hard. Getting the snap. Can make all the calls. I met with his daddy. He's a big Irishman. Put 4 kids through Ivy League schools. We think he can do it. He's got to go show that. Like, Kardell, he's lost a lot of weight. It's wide open. Let's see what he can do. A lot of times, Ed's going to tell you the story. And a lot of people ask about Kardell. And let me be very clear. I think Kardell Thomas is going to, at some point in his career, is going to be a starting offensive lineman at LSU. So let me just say that very clear. What's happened with Kardell, and the reason that there's an infatuation with the fan base with Kardell, is he was a 5-star who popped on everybody's radar early because he was at Southern Lab and saw this local kid, 5-star, and has a great personality as well. Was really one of the big recruiters in that class. He was the one who was kind of the Pied Piper, getting other kids into the class. Committed early, but then when you saw in his senior year, he started going to those elite camps and his ranking started to drop. When the recruiters started to see him against other elite defensive linemen at elite camps instead of against 1A defensive linemen in Louisiana, you saw him drop a little. I mean, this kid was ranked 97th overall in the country. I mean, he's still one of the best players in the country, but he dropped it. He dropped from where he was initially. And then he had the broken ankle with the dislocation last year. It was essentially the injury that Nick Fitzgerald had at Mississippi State, where your foot's pointed the wrong way. And that set him back even further. But the kid's kept a great attitude. And clearly he's reshaped his body. He's lost a lot of weight. And he's committed himself to being great. And I think Kardell Thomas will be a starting offensive lineman at LSU, just not yet. It probably won't be in 2020. It more likely will be in 2021 when you lose Ed Ingram and Liam Shanahan, and we'll see who else maybe leaves early, however the season goes. But it feels like there's going to be more of a possibility for an open door for Kardell next in 2021, not in 2020. But if Liam Shanahan, the bigger question with the offensive line right now is not Kardell Thomas. I'm pulling for Kardell. He's a local kid. I want to see him do great, and I think he will do. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying like write the kid off. There's just a lot of times where you see it's very difficult for linemen to transition from high school to the SEC because the physicality is just so very different. And not everybody's just ready for it right away. So I think what you're going to see is Liam Shanahan probably be your starting center. And we know Dare Rosenthal is going to get the crack at left tackle from jump, and Ed Ingram's going to be your left guard. And you know Austin Deculus is going to be your right tackle. So the question is, who plays right guard? Is it Bradford? Does Chasen Hines get in the mix at right guard if Liam Shanahan wins the starting center job? Do you go with the more veteran athletic kid in Chasen Hines? Maybe. Because then all of a sudden you're looking at Dare and then a veteran in Ed Ingram, a veteran in Liam Shanahan, a veteran in Chasen Hines, and a veteran senior in Deculus. Now you've got a really veteran, deep, senior, veteran-laden offensive line backed up by Bradford, Kardell, the next wave, effectively. It makes a lot of sense how that could play out that way. So I'm interested, really interested to see how that plays out. But the centerpiece is going to be literally the center. Or the center is literally going to be the centerpiece if, in fact, Liam Shanahan surprises everybody and does what it seems he's doing and pushes himself into a starting job right in the center of that line for the 2020 season. All right, it's after further review. If you want to hear that full interview with Ed Orgeron, 1045ESPN.com, on demand, off the bench. They visit with Edo every Tuesday. So you can go catch that full interview. They talked about a lot of different stuff. Or you can get to the Off the Bench YouTube channel and watch it there as well. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.